Well, hello again. Today, no SLRs, no modern cameras. I want to show you two gems. This one is before the war, and this one was built in 1940. Both are folders, as you can see, folding cameras. They are Zeiss Ikon Nettars, and this is the 515-2, and this is the Zeiss Ikon Nettar 516. Both folding cameras. Let's start with this one. I bought this. I must admit I repainted the black pieces of metal here because the leatherette was really in very good shape and good quality, and now it almost looks like new. Mind you, this one is from the 30s, from the last century, so it's around 90 years old. To open the camera, you press this button, and when you press this button you can see a little mechanism here which releases the viewfinder, and it also releases the mechanism to exit the lens. It is quite a long bellow, as you can see, and the bellow is also in very good condition. The camera itself, they are pretty simple. The things you can adjust in the camera is the shutter speed and the aperture and the distance. It is of course a zone focusing camera, so you have to estimate the distance, and that is what you do here. And the indication for the distance is somewhat awkward. It's over there, so there you look, there you set your distance on this camera, this little thing over there. The shutter speed you adjust also with this ring over here, and when you turn it you see a little marker. I will show you if I can show it on the camera. There is a little marker, it's over here. It's now on position T, and it goes from shutter speeds T, B, 1/25th of a second to 125th of a second. Those are the shutter speeds. It is a Telma shutter, and there is a anastigmat lens on it, aperture f4.5. Beautiful lens, has 3 elements, and it's pretty sharp. To cock the shutter you do this. Then you adjust the shutter speed. Well, let's do it on 1/50th of a second. You set the distance here, and yes, and then you can use this here as a viewfinder. Well, I can tell you that it's well you get an approximate idea of what will be on the picture, but you can also use this one. When you have it on your waist, you can use this little waist viewfinder, and it works actually quite good. The image is very bright, and you know, it's, yeah, for those age, I mean, it's 90 years old, it functions very well. Now, to release the shutter, you press this one here, and that's it. What else do we see on the lens? There is a little connection here for a wired shutter release. On the bottom you have here a connection for a tripod, and here is where you advance the film of this camera. And when you advance the film, you can peek through this window here to see if you advanced it far enough to the next exposure moment. And when you're done forwarding it, you close this one again. So I really love this camera because of some details. If you look at this, you know, the metal, it's like a little piece of art. There are other little things which I found very striking. Look at this one here. Here you can connect the tripod as well. If you want to make pictures like this, you can connect the tripod here. And here you see a little lever and they made this here, this lever, so when you put the camera like this, you know, it stands beautifully. You can even put it in your closet, and it's like a museum piece. When you fold back the lens again, you have to, when this one is over here, you have to put it in this position, and then you can fold back the lens. And it goes like this. You fold back like this, and folding the lens back, you press here, those two little arms, and there we go. Click, you know, and it's, again, 90 years old. Who could have said this? It looks brand new. To open the film compartment, you have to slide this open. As you can see, this is the 6:9 format. So you put in the 120 film over here. No, excuse me, over here. And this take-up spool goes over there, and from there on you wind up the film. As you can see here, it's very accessible. This lens has 3 elements. I've taken pictures with it, you know, from the aperture, well, around 8. Pictures are extremely sharp, I mean, for that age. And this kind of construction, you know, it's really amazingly sharp. The aperture, by the way, goes from 4.5 to 32. So you have a lot of choice. There's even here a red dot on the aperture ring. So this is where you can put it for a and then if you put the distance here, it was 2 meters, then everything between 2 meters and infinity will be sharp. And it is sharp. It is a very, very good lens. Amazing for that age. Well, like I said, you fold it back like this. Like this. And then, you know, it's a medium format camera. It fits in your hand. It slides easily in your pocket. When I got this, I was a little bit intrigued by the way it handles. It's very simple to operate, but also it's very easy to take it with you. And I was amazed by the quality of the pictures. So I made a little, well, not study, that sounds so, but I was investigating different types of this camera, and then I came upon this one. Basically, this is also a Nettar. It's only a smaller version with another little gadget here, I will tell you later. Well, let's first disengage the lens here. Look how beautiful it comes out. Do it like this. There you go. There it is. Fully extracted. Same here. The distance. To set the distance, there's a little pin here where you can set the distance at the right number. The shutter speed goes on top as well. This one has a shutter speed which goes from bulb to 1/25, 1/75 of a second. 1/75 of a second, so it's a little bit, you have a little quicker shutter speed than the bigger one. This is also an astigmat lens, f4.5, also 3 elements, and again it's the same lens as this one, only a different focal length, but also beautiful pictures. Here you release the viewfinder. This one has a little bit more luxurious viewfinder because there's a little glass in it. This camera is from 1940, and it has another little thing. If you look here, you see a little red dot. Now when I turn, maybe I have to cock it first. Ah, it was cocked. When the shutter is not cocked, you see here the little spot here is white. When you advance the film, at some point it becomes red, and that means that The shutter, you can cock the shutter and release the shutter, but when it's wide and you cock the shutter, you cannot release the shutter. So this little thing prevents double exposures. When it's wide here, you cannot release the shutter. When I advance the film, I can release the shutter. This shutter here is a, what is it? I think it was a Thelma, nor a Clio shutter. Also, well, there's nothing wrong with these kind of shutters. They are pretty accurate for the age of the camera. I like this one so much because it's a little bit more portable than the other one. And this, however, is a 6x4.5 format, as you can see. Well, when closed, totally closed, like this. Let me put this one away again. Look, it's only this that you have to carry. This is the total medium format camera, and believe me, it makes really beautiful pictures. It's of an amazing build quality. You know, considering this camera is 85 years old. Look, and it's still functioning flawlessly. The double exposure prevention is working perfectly. There's even to see on what kind of number you are in the film. Here again you have this little sliding window with the red behind it, and there you can see the number on the 120 film. So when you forward it, you should see the numbers changing of the film. And when you are on the next exposure, you cock the camera and do your settings like distance and aperture. The aperture goes from f4.5 to 22, so it's a little bit. It's not 32 like the other one, the minimum, but again, 22 is super to have for the pictures. Like I said, it's so easy to handle, so beautiful to handle, and you know, I love these little machines. If you look at it, considering the age of these machines, it's amazing. And this one has the little, you know, waist viewfinder feature here. I think it was possible to connect it here too, because I see some similar connection like there, but this one doesn't have it. But look at it, it's 90 and 80 years old, 85 years old, this one. And this one over 90 years, 92 years old. Looks stunning to me. It looks very, you know, that's why I love these little cameras, and they really make great pictures. So if you want to go into the medium format films, medium format photography, consider the old Zeiss Ikons. And there are a lot of old Zeiss Ikons in medium format in various types. You have to look at Wikipedia for cameras, Camera Wiki, I think the name is. And that is a website, it's Wikipedia for cameras, and it gives information on all kinds of cameras, all kinds of types and brands, and God knows. There is an overview of all Zeiss Ikons, medium format, with the different shutters they came with the different lenses they came with the different focal distances they came with, etc., etc. So it gives a lot of info, and what you also realize is that a lot of these cameras were made, and that means they're very affordable. You know, on this channel I only talk about affordable cameras. This camera cost me 25 euros, mind you, 25 euros, the thing is 92 years old, and this one cost me 30 euros, and it is one of the most expensive folding cameras I bought, because the lesser popular Zeiss Ikons, well, they can go for 15 or 20 euros. Mind you, I would avoid the f6.5 lens, since that lens is, well, first of all, it needs a lot of light, and second, I didn't like the sharp. It is sharp in the center, but you don't get it so sharp in the corners as well when you change the aperture. So I would leave those lenses behind and start looking for f3 4.5 for the medium format cameras, and those are from Nova great lenses. Only 3 elements, but hey, look, when there's something wrong, when you need, for instance, when you buy a camera that has some dust in the lens or some fungus in the lens, mind you, it's very easy to get this out. And then you have the first element out, you can clean it, okay? Now, the front element you can get out, but you have to be careful a little bit because this is also your focusing ring. The only thing you have to do is when you want to take this lens off, there's a little screw here. You take the screw out, you start unwinding and count the numbers of how much you unwinded it. When you want to put it back together, you do exactly the same in reverse, and then put the screw again, and then you know it is set like it should be and like it came from the factory. So when you get this one out, you can clean this lens too, and it gives access to the lens behind it. So, and then you have access to all 3 lenses. If you remove the last one in the back and the front one, you can have access to all the lenses and you can clean all the fungus and all the dust. In ways of simplicity, these cameras have another advantage, and that is that they are not very complicated to repair yourself. You know, when you have removed this lens, you can easily come to this part where the shutter is, where the aperture setting is. So if there's something wrong with the shutter, because if they're broke, there's usually something wrong with the shutter or the aperture blades are stuck. Which reminds me, never use the 96% alcohol on these cameras for the aperture blades. I did it once for an old camera, and in that case I think the aperture blades weren't made of metal but some kind of, I don't know what, but they almost dissolved. So and that was, by the way, it was a Kodak camera, but also be careful with this one to use that alcohol. But if you have removed it, it's very accessible, and it's quite simple technique. It's easy to clean, but because it's so simple and because it's all metal, you know, this goes on for another age. You can use this in the next 100 years. It's simple as that. What you shouldn't do ever with this camera is put lubricant near anywhere here in this mechanism. No matter how small your lubricant is, what you put here, it will eventually come to the aperture blades, and a simple, smallest little pin of lubricant on an aperture blade makes them stick together and not function like they should anymore. So don't do that. Use for the mechanism to clean the alcohol, and then when you clean it very well, you do not need alcohol anyway, and in lubricant anyway, because it just functions flawlessly like it did the past 85-90 years in that case. So really handy practical cameras. Taking a picture with this camera is almost like you know, a ritual. It's like a ritual. You measure the light with an external light meter, you set the aperture, you guess the distance, you set the shutter, you advance the film, because there's no guarantee, except at this one you have a double exposure prevention, but this one doesn't have it, this one. So you have to be very keen and very clear in your head when you make pictures with this. But it's also more satisfying to make pictures with a camera like this, especially when they turn out to be beautiful, beautiful pictures. And it's very satisfying knowing that you made it with a almost 100-year-old camera, and that you set all the settings for make this exposure. That is, for me, is well, very fun to make photographs I collect also folders. You know, I have a lot of reviews on SLRs and pocket cameras. And the third ones I collect, and I do collect them a lot in medium format, but also in 35 millimeters. That are the folding cameras. And why the folding cameras? Well, like, you know, look at the Kodak review I made. It's also a folding camera. That is a 35 millimeter camera, but it has a 4-element lens, and it makes stunningly sharp pictures. And you put it in your pocket. You can take it everywhere. You don't need a camera bag or whatever. You just take it with you, and when you want, you take the picture. And that is why I love these folding cameras. Beside of the technique and the way it, of course, the way it looks. Look at this. It's almost Art Deco or Art Nouveau how they made this. So for the looks and also for the technique, you know, the mechanism that it completely disappears inside this camera, knowing it is 90 to 100 years old almost. It's for me, it's stunning. So that's why I collect these folders also. And it means I have a few Francas, Baldas and Kodaks and Minox and Zeiss Ikons folding cameras. I will do some reviews about some 35 millimeter folders later of Zeiss Ikon and also Kodak. Just to let you know how the things work and what you can expect with these cameras. But again, you know, if you want to go into medium format film, you don't want to spend much money, but you do want to get beautiful pictures, and you want to have something in your hand where you can just, well, look at and touch it for 15, 20, 30 minutes, just admiring the model and how it's made. Buy one of these. You know, it doesn't cost much. It gives you so much fun, and it gives you so much insight in how these simple shutters and focusing mechanism works. Even if there's a hole in a bellow, it's easy to repair. You have these flexible leather, flexible rubber. You put a good LED torchlight in the bellow, and there you can see the little pinholes are, if there are any. If there aren't any leaks, you will find it with a LED light shining in the bellow, and you see the little light points, and then you can just with a little brush put them with the liquid leather. You put it on, and then they close it again. In that way I have restored 3 bellow cameras, and of course you see a little bit of the liquid leather, not in this case, but in the cameras I repaired, but they still fold perfectly inside, and they are functional again. They function again. So I find it very important that the cameras I have, they should function. I like it. I can make actually beautiful pictures with it. So to resume, payable medium format cameras with a very good lens. If it breaks down, easy to repair. Even the bellow, where people think, oh, the bellow, is the bellow okay, is the bellow okay? Well, it doesn't matter so much, as long as there are not very big holes in it. Even then you can repair it easily. But the little pinholes, no problem. You just with a little brush. So easy to repair and easy to take with you. Look at it. Amazing construction. I mean, it's click, click. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pieces of engineering. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on these two, well, for what I have made on reviews, different cameras. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, please list them below, or any comments. If you have any additional information, please let me know. If you have questions and you post them, I will answer them as soon as possible. Thank you for watching again.